The midnight sun will never set, as it never does here in Sweden during summertime. At this time of year, it's almost always dark, just as in the Stockholm City Hall right now.
In 1901, that year's physics laureate, Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen, almost couldn't make it to the awards ceremony here in Stockholm. His university didn't want to grant him leave merely to go to a party. Nowadays, it's perhaps a bit easier for the laureates to be released from their day jobs to travel to Stockholm. But of course, this year we have to make an exception. The Nobel laureates have received their medals and diplomas at various locations around the world. And we invite you to take part of these touching and inspiring moments throughout the ceremony. Now, prepare yourselves for a dazzling tour of this year's, the latest Nobel Prizes, and of how all of this year's laureates have, in the words of Alfred Nobel, contributed to the greatest benefit to humankind. During the ceremony, the prizes will be presented according to the will of Alfred Nobel. And we will accordingly start with physics. It's a great honor to welcome onto the podium to read a speech by John Wetlaufer, Professor John Wetlaufer, Professor Tor Hansson from the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences.
Your Majesties, Your Royal Highnesses, esteemed Nobel laureates, colleagues in the international community of scholars, ladies and gentlemen. Sir Charles Frank said, physics is not just concerning the nature of things, but concerning the interconnectedness of all natures of things, encapsulating the essence of the work of the year's laureates. From fluctuations in atoms to turbulence in atmosphere, many emergent properties can only be predicted by recognizing our ignorance of the trajectories of every constituent. Understanding the collective requires a systematic treatment of the tapestry describing the essential processes. Weaving such tapestries involves deep physical insight, computational and mathematical skill, and above all, perseverance. Fourier launched the theory of climate in 1824 by invoking invisible heat, dark heat emitted by Earth, which we now know is infrared radiation. Modern physical climatology incorporates the pillars of basic physics, from spectroscopy to thermodynamics, from radiative transfer to turbulence. In 1896, Arrhenius constructed the first predictive theory, but it took 70 years, 2 world wars, and computer revolution before Suruku Manabe completed the tapestry upon which all modern climate models are based. Edward Lorenz taught us that chaos limits the predictability of weather to days, and yet the climate marches on month by month, year by year. Einstein taught us that pollen grains in water are slowly displaced by rapid collisions by the water molecules. Klaus Hasselmann appealed to both, arguing that the chaotic weather is like the water molecules and the climate is like the pollen grains. He thereby incorporated fluctuations and variability into climate physics, and he carried the analogy further and constructed a framework to quantify the climate signal from the national noise. Together, Manabe and Hasselmann provided the basis for the physical modeling of Earth's climate, quantifying variability, and reliably predicting global warming. A person in bed is in their lowest energy state. Remove the bed, and the lowest energy state is on the floor. Remove the floor, and the lowest energy state is the ground, and there the process is complete. However, some physical systems never rest. It's like a person can reside in one of an infinite number of almost identical beds, but can only really rest in one of them. And that is frustrating. To make glass, one melts sand and rapidly cools it. In equilibrium, it should again become opaque, and yet it persists in this equilibrium, occupying a plethora of very long-lived, very similar metastable states. It is perpetually frustrated. Giorgio Parisi embraced the disorder of these glassy systems and constructed a description using many replicas whose energies he could trace mathematically, like families in a genealogical tree. The energetic landscape of such frustrated systems are found in regular glasses, in granular materials, in certain forms of laser light, and many other systems. And so general, and all these systems are frustrated in their own way, in their own manner. And so general are Giorgio Parisi's predictions that they capture the behavior of a vast landscape of complex, disordered systems. Dr. Manabe, Professor Hasselmann, Professor Parisi, you have been awarded the 2021 Nobel Prize in Physics for groundbreaking contributions to our understanding of complex physical systems. It's an honor and a privilege to convey to you, the behalf of the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences, our warmest congratulations.
physics laureate received it on the 6th of December at the National Academy of Sciences in Washington, D.C. And the medal and diploma was handed over by Sweden's ambassador, Karin Olofsdotter. In Berlin, at the Hanak House, the Max Planck Society for the Advancement of Science, Klaus Hasselmann received his prize from Ambassador Per Tøresson earlier this week. And physics laureate Giorgio Parisi received his diploma and medal during a ceremony at the Sapienza University in Rome, where he received his degree. 1917 is professor of quantum theories. The prize is handed over by Swedish Ambassador Jan Björklund.
Sois sage, ô ma douleur, et tiens-toi plus tranquille. Tu réclamais le soir, il descend, le voici. Une atmosphère obscure enveloppe la ville. Aux uns portant la paix, aux autres le souci. Pendant que des mortels, la multitude file. Sous le fouet du plaisir, ce bourreau sans merci va cueillir des remords dans la fête servile. La douleur, donne-moi la main, viens par ici, loin d'eux. Vois se pencher les défuntes années sur les balcons du ciel en robe surannée. Surgir du fond des eaux le regret souriant. Le soleil moribond s'endormir sous une arche. Et comme l'eau la seule traînant à l'Orient, entends la douce nuit qui marche, la douce nuit.
Music by Monegasque poet and composer Léo Ferré. Recueillement, sung by Anne-Sophie von Otto.
Alfred Nobel's most famous invention is undoubtedly dynamite. an invention that demonstrates how chemical reactions can be both powerful and useful if we learn how to control them. Here to honor the laureates in chemistry, let me welcome onto the podium Professor Peter Somfaj from the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences.
Your Majesties, Your Royal Highnesses, esteemed Nobel laureates, ladies and gentlemen. We all have an intimate relationship to molecules, but most of the time we are just not aware of it. It might be medicines, agrochemicals, molecules that can store and relay information, or that can harvest sunlight and convert it into electricity. Our knowledge of how to design and make such molecules is closely related to the progress of our society. Many organic molecules can exist as non-identical mirror images of each other. It is just like with our hands, similar but mirror images. Such molecular mirror images can have different properties. For example, one mirror image of medicine can have the desired property, while the other mirror image have an undesired effect or no effect at all. There is thus a need to be able to selectively produce only the mirror image of a molecule that has the desired property. Today, this can, for example, be achieved by using enzymes or asymmetric metal catalysis. A catalyst is a substance that accelerates the rate of a chemical reaction, but is not consumed and remains unaffected. It is a very beautiful concept that is central to chemistry. The formation of almost all molecules that we are made of and use in everyday life involves catalysis. Enzymes consist of several hundred amino acids, while only a few of them are responsible for the catalytic activity. Benjamin List showed that the complexity and activity of an enzyme could be reduced to a single amino acid, L-proline. This amino acid, a small organic molecule, is able to catalyze the same reaction as the enzyme and selectively produce only one mirror image of the product. In asymmetric metal catalysts, the metal atom is responsible for the catalytic activity by activating the starting material. These catalysts are sensitive and the metal can be harmful to the environment. David Macmillan designed a small organic molecule, an imidazolidinone, and demonstrated that it achieves similar activation and efficiency in a Diels-Alder reaction as a metal catalyst, selectively producing only one mirror image of the product. He thus showed that such catalysis can be achieved without the need of a metal atom activation. The work by Benjamin List and David Macmillan in the year 2000 resulted in a turning point. There is a clear before and after. They conceptualized the area of organocatalysis and have provided organic chemistry with a powerful tool for selectively making only one of the two possible mirror images of molecules. Since then, the research area has exploded, and as a result, we today have a number of small organic molecules that catalyze many different reactions. These catalysts can be used to manufacture molecules for our society. Organocatalysis also holds great promises as a sustainable technology. Benjamin List and David Macmillan, developments in organic synthesis that clarify new principles for inducing reactivity and controlling reaction pathways are central to the advancement of the discipline. Your work on asymmetric organocatalysis is a pioneering contribution to the area and has provided organic chemistry with a new powerful tool, the third pillar of catalysis. On behalf of the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences, it is my great privilege to convey to you our warmest congratulations.
In Berlin, at the Harnack-Max Planck Society for Advancement of Science, chemistry laureate Benjamin List was handed his medal and diploma by Swedish ambassador on the 7th of December. And Scottish-British David Macmillan, who works in the United States these days, received his Nobel Prize in Chemistry in Washington, D.C. at the National Academy of Sciences. Medal and diploma was handed over by Swedish Ambassador Karin Olofsdotter. The musical performance now will be a combination of some Swedish folk music with soloist Ann-Sofie von Otter and Bengan Jansson.
Som solen lyser du i mig, en kärleksgåva skänkt. Må livets lycka bära dig, som vinden lyfter lärkan. Som solen lyser du i mig, en kärleksgåva skänkt. Må livets lycka bära dig, som vinden lyfter lärkan. Som porlande bäckar i djupaste skog ger kraft i själ och hjärta. Som porlande bäckar i djupaste skog ger kraft i själ och hjärta. Det brinner en eld, det brinner klar, den brinner i tusen glansar. Det brinner en eld, den brinner klar, den brinner i tusen glansar. Så vänd dig om, ta mig pannan en gång och låt mig att ta med dig. Så vänd dig om, ta mig pannan en gång och dansa med mig mera. Så vänd dig om, ta mig pannan en gång och dansa med mig mera. Så vänd dig om, ta mig famnen en gång och dansa med mig mera. Så vänd dig om, ta mig famnen en gång och dansa med mig mera. Så vänd dig om, ta mig famnen en gång och dansa med mig mera. Så vänd dig om, ta mig famnen en gång och dansa med mig mera. Så vänd dig om, ta mig famnen en gång och dansa med mig mera.
Discoveries in physiology or medicine gives us tools to prevent or combat disease, something that today seems more relevant than ever. And not only can these discoveries help us better understand how our bodies work, but also give us a deeper notion of ourselves. To honor the laureates in physiology or medicine, it is a pleasure to welcome onto the podium Professor Patrik Ernfors from the Nobel Assembly at Karolinska Institutet.
Your Majesties, Your Royal Highnesses, esteemed Nobel Prize laureates, ladies and gentlemen. One of the great mysteries of humankind is the question how we sense our environment. We can see the brilliance of colors, taste the food we eat, listen to sounds, and bask in the myriads of odors and fragrances that surrounds us. Over the years, patient research has discovered the gatekeepers of these senses. Photoreceptors in the eyes, taste receptors in the mouth, the intricate structures of the inner ear, odorant receptors of the nose. However, we are also equipped with another sense by which we experience the world: the ability to feel temperature and touch. The body-based sense of temperature and touch is needed for us to be able to perceive the nuanced and rich world around us. Forged through millions of years of evolution, it is highly sophisticated and has incredible sensitivity and precision. It had been known for a long time that nerves present in our skin and organs are responsible for extracting information about our environment. But a crucial unsolved question remained: what are the sensors that allow the nervous system to detect touch and temperature? The discovery of temperature sensors began with an interest in the chemical compound capsaicin present in chili peppers, which gives rise to the hot and spicy sensation experienced when eating spicy food. David Julius, after diligent search, identified the sensor for capsaicin. And when Julius investigated its ability to respond to heat, he realized that he had discovered a heat-sensing receptor. Through this discovery and the work that followed, Julius has provided insights about how we can gain awareness of ambient temperatures, such as feeling a hot cup of tea, the coolness of a shower, or pain when touching a hot stove. That feeling of pain warns us of the occurrence or threat of bodily injury. Without this ability, we would be unable to protect ourselves from what is harmful. The discovery of temperature sensors was a great breakthrough, but the mechanism for sensing touch remained an enigma. Arden Pataputian discovered after strenuous efforts a novel class of proteins specifically tuned to respond to mechanical stimuli. The discovery by Pataputian of the elusive sensor explains how our nervous system can detect touch and pressure. This explains, for example, how we can perceive objects we explore with our fingertips. It also equips us with a sixth sense, which allows us to keep track of where our limbs are in the space. Without this ability, we would be unable to maneuver our arms and legs, for example, while walking or when drinking that cup of hot tea. The 2021 Nobel Prize laureates have explained fundamental mechanisms underpinning how we sense the world within and around us. Our temperature and touch sensors are used all the time in every day of our lives. They continuously keep us updated about our environment and without them, even the simplest of our daily tasks would be impossible to perform. David Hewlett and Arden Pataputian, you have answered one of the most fundamental questions in human physiology. Your discoveries represent a paradigm shift in our understanding of how we can perceive and interact with our surroundings. On behalf of the Nobel Assembly at Karolinska Institutet, it is my great pleasure to convey to you our warmest congratulations.
In Irvine, California, the Medicine Prize was handed over on the 8th of December to David Julius. Ambassador Carl Henrik Heldin. To Arden Pataputian, born in Lebanon, emigrated to the US in '86, where he, 10 years later, took his PhD at Caltech. He now runs his own lab at Scripps Research in California. Stockholm City Hall, where we only have 250 guests, about 1,000 less than normal, usually. Music by Swedish composer and organist Elfrida Andre from the turn of the last century.
piece for string orchestra by Elfrida André, pioneer composer and one of the hidden treasures of the late 19th Swedish musical history. Imagination is more powerful than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world. An inspiring quote from perhaps the world's most famous scientist, Albert Einstein. In our constant search for truth, fiction and imagination is sometimes the straightest way to reality. Presenting this year's laureate in literature, author Ellen Mattsson from the Swedish Academy.
Eders Majestäter, ärade pristagare, mina damer och herrar. Det finns en berättelse som berättas om och om igen i Abdul Razak Gurnas romaner. Den handlar om en pojke som försvinner, rövas bort, säljs, sätts ut som Moses i vassen eller flyr för att rädda sitt liv. Han blir till en ung man som lever någonstans där han inte hör hemma och där han tvingas hitta sätt att hantera sorgen över den brustna kontakten med det förflutna. Men också chocken i mötet med ett samhälle som är i grunden fientligt. De strategier han prövar är ironi, distans, tigande och lögner. Lögn är här detsamma som litterär fiktion. Gurnas författarskap handlar bland mycket annat om hur författare föds och hur historier blir till som ett sätt att förstå det som hänt, men också skapa alternativ till det som hänt. En något bättre eller bara annorlunda version att erbjuda de närmaste och hålla upp framför sig som skydd mot det mest avslöjande ljuset. Men det som ska skydda förvandlas med tiden till en sjukdom. En Nessos mantel som förtär den som bär den. Och den unge mannen blir lite äldre man. Till sist en gammal man som stelnat i lögnen om sitt liv och försöker bryta den tystnad som blivit en mur mellan honom och världen. Det var en gång en pojke, så börjar historien. I tidernas begynnelse, det är så historien börjar. Författarens uppgift är att se till att historien fortsätter. Att underordna sig och föra den till slut. Först när den är fullbordad kan vi förstå betydelsen av alla dessa händelser och förlopp. De gåtfulla band som binder människorna samman och den djupaste meningen i slutackordet som allting leder fram till. Först när det har klingat ut blir musiken helt begriplig. Det är vår tids historia och alla tiders som gestaltas i romaner som Pilgrim's Way, Paradise, Afterlives och Desertion. Om att förlora sin plats i världen och söka en ny. Och att motstå slaveriet också när det uppträder förtäckt och i frestande former. Att stiga in i Gurnas författarskap innebär att omsluta sig av hans stora muntliga traditioner, mönster och mytologier, i förening med det som är romankonstens premiss, det unika i varje öde. Gurna skildrar exilen, men aldrig i generella termer. Han skriver inte om historiska processer, utan om enskilda människor som är underkastade historien. De får sina liv formade av den, men alltid var och en på sitt sätt, utifrån förutsättningar som går långt tillbaka, till tidernas begynnelse om man så vill. De berättar sina historier som i 1001 natt, för att överleva natten, och vi känner igen den gamla sagans röst. Men de som berättar är i modern bemärkelse individer. De är storsinta,
snobbish, supersensitive, cowardly and heroic, as complex and contradictory as in a Shakespeare play or a Joseph Conrad novel. Here, two literary traditions meet and organically merge into a third, something exceptionally beautiful. Everyone has a dream for their own life and must sustain that dream through challenges along the way. Ultimately, rootlessness is perhaps the only place that can be claimed. It holds those whose lives have been splintered, but who have been able to retain within them what is most important and fragile.
Dear Abdul Razak Gurna, on behalf of the Swedish Academy, it is my privilege to convey to you our warmest congratulations to the Nobel Prize in Literature 2021.
The Diploma Nobel Medal was presented to literature laureate Abdul Razak Gurna in London, UK, where he lived since he moved there as a refugee in the 70s. He was born in Zanzibar in 1948. Ambassador Michaela Kundling-Granit handed over the medal and diploma at the Swedish ambassador's residence. And now some music composed by French accordionist Richard Galliano, performed by Bengan Jansson. This is called fou rire. And after that crazy laughter on accordion, it is time for some natural experiments.
To make decisions in a complex society, we need to know what works and what doesn't work. Economic science studies the effect of policy in society and thereby help us base those policies on facts. Welcome onto the podium Professor Peter Fredriksson from the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences to honor the laureates in the Sveriges Riksbank Prize in Economic Sciences in memory of Alfred Nobel.
Your Majesties, Your Royal Highnesses, esteemed Nobel laureates, ladies and gentlemen. As social scientists, we frequently face important questions that seem very difficult to answer. One of these surfaced during the current pandemic. What is the impact of school closures on the spread of the COVID-19 virus? In most countries, this question is almost impossible to answer. Since all schools closed at the same time, we simply do not know what would have happened had they not been closed. But following the work of this year's laureates, Swedish researchers recently devised a way to answer the question. The Swedish setting, in fact, offers a natural experiment. Upper secondary schools moved to online teaching, while lower secondary schools remained open. We can thus compare the spread of the virus in open schools with similar schools that were closed at the same point in time. The researchers have shown that school closures reduced reported infection rates among teachers by 50%, and that there was also a decrease, albeit smaller, among parents. School closures also reduced the spread of the virus to elderly homes. A similar research strategy could be used to examine the other side of the coin. That is, how school closures affected student learning. But we will have to await the arrival of reliable data before we can answer this question. As the example illustrates, natural experiments are unintended experiments that occur without the interference of researchers. Such events can arise from administrative rules, variations in policy, or naturally occurring random variation. They allow researchers to compare affected and unaffected groups in a way that mimics the comparison of treatment and control groups in clinical trials. The systematic use of natural experiments started among labor economists some 30 years ago. In the early 1990s, David Card set out to analyze the labor market effects of the minimum wage, immigration, and education policy. His studies broke the mold of existing empirical practice, and the results challenged conventional wisdom. This stimulated additional research, to which Card remained a core contributor. Thanks to this work, we have gained a much deeper understanding of labor markets. We now know, for example, that raising the minimum wage has only a small negative employment impact in most settings, and that educational policies can affect inequality in the labor market to a greater extent than was previously thought. Data from natural experiments are more difficult to interpret than data from controlled clinical trials. To illustrate why, suppose you extend compulsory education by a year in some regions, but not in others. Such a policy change does not affect all students in the same way. Some students would have kept studying anyway, and for them, the value of education is often not representative of the entire group. What can we conclude about the effect of prolonging compulsory education in such a scenario? Joshua Angrist and Guido Imbens showed that it's still possible to estimate a well-defined effect of such an intervention. Their framework has improved our ability to establish causal effects and interpret the results. And it's been widely adopted in applied research. Dear Professors Card, Angrist, and Imbens, you have shown that important questions for society can be answered using natural experiments. Your research has given us new insights about the labor market, and you've clarified what conclusions about cause and effect that can be drawn from natural experiments. Together, you have revolutionized empirical work in the economic sciences. Thanks to your research, our ability to answer causal questions of great importance to us all has improved tremendously. It's an honor and a privilege to convey to you, on behalf of the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences, our warmest congratulations.
In Irvine, California, the prize in economics was handed over to David Card by Ambassador Karin Olofsdotter. David Card is at Berkeley University and is famous for his research from the 90s about minimum wage and its impact on the job market. And in Washington, D.C., the medal was handed over to Joshua Angrist from MIT, where he loves to teach and make econometrics fun to learn. Joshua Angrist likes to go biking in his spare time. Just as his co-laureate Guido Imbens often takes his bike up in the mountains near Stanford, where he works and lives in California. His wife, Susan Affey, is also a prominent economist at Stanford. The diploma is handed over by Swedish Ambassador Karin Olofsdotter. And here's the Imbens family together.
The Nobel Prize Ceremony 2021 has come to an end. And once again from Stockholm, we'd like to forward our warmest congratulations to you, dear laureates, wherever you are in the world. This year's Nobel Prizes clearly illustrates both hope and action. They are also all dedicated to truth in various forms, scientific knowledge, the human experience, and the fundamental right of journalists to report facts. The dedication to truth gives us hope, but even more demands action. We need to treasure that, be part of it, and never, ever take it for granted. Thank you all, and again, warmest congratulations from a winter-cold Stockholm to the Nobel Laureates 2021.
Now some music from Joni Mitchell with soloist Carolina Salandi and Karin Hammar.
Rose and flows of angel hair and ice cream castles in the air, feathered canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way, but now they only block the sun. They rain and they snow on everyone. So many things I would have done, but clouds got in my way. and still somehow it's cloud illusions I recall. I really don't know clouds at all. Moons and Junes and Ferris wheels, the dizzy dancing way that you feel as every fairy tale comes real. I've looked at love that way, but now it's just another show. You leave them laughing when you go, and if you care, don't let them know. Don't give yourself away. I've looked at love from both sides now, from give and take, and still somehow it's love illusions I recall. I really don't know love. I really don't know love at all. Tears and fears and feeling proud to say how I love you right out loud. Dreams and schemes and circus crowds. I've looked at life that way, but now friends, they're acting strange. They shake their heads, tell me how I've changed. Well, some things are lost and some things are gained in living every day. I've looked at life from both sides now, from win and lose, and still somehow it's life's illusions that I recall. I really don't know life. I really don't know life at all. It's life's illusions that I recall. I really don't know life. I really don't know life. I don't know life at all.
Both sides now by Jonah Mitchell, with singer Carolina Solandi and Juan Hammar on trombone. Performed by the Swedish Royal Philharmonic here in the Stockholm City Hall, closes this year's prize ceremony. as of course you shouldn't leave during the anthem. But now it is over for this time. Thank you very much for following this prize ceremony for the 2021 Nobel Prize. Hopefully we'll see the light in the end of the tunnel, shining brighter and brighter during the year to come, and perhaps we'll be back next year with a full ceremony and the banquet here in the Stockholm City Hall as usual. Until then, take care.